Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News channel. Hello, Maverick family. Great to have everybody here as usual. And tonight I am dedicating this broadcast to my super good friend, Jennifer Jupiter. We haven't seen Jennifer around here in quite a while. And another good friend of mine phoned today to tell me that Jennifer's been having some trouble getting into the chat. And so because someone went to bat for you and cares about you so much, I am now alerted. So I'm going to go into the system at some point over the next day and figure out why you're having trouble getting into that chat, Jennifer. And you may not be watching right now, but I'm sure that our Maverick family will reach out and tell you what's going on. And we are going to repatriate you, bring you back into the fold. Okay, because I know that you miss us, and I know that everybody here misses you. So we're going to get you back into the mix of things here. I'm just looking over to the side because I have so much stuff to share with you tonight. We have a special guest lined up, Al Cameron from Veterans Voices Museum out in Red Deer, Alberta. He has some news to share with us tonight. And we're excited to have him also take us on a little tour of the museum out there. So that we're going to start off with that tonight. But also we have body cam footage, new body cam footage just released, showing how police interacted with the gunman at the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. We have news about Pat King. We have Jordan Peterson. His legal appeal has been rejected. We'll tell you why. And the RFK Jr. campaign seems to be falling apart. All that while the Defense Minister of Australia comes over to visit his counterpart here in Canada, Bill Blair. And we have that for you tonight too, plus more. I have some other stuff that is so controversial, I'm not even sure if I should show it to you. But I'm going to weigh the pros and the cons of that while we progress with our broadcast tonight, and then I will make a decision, but I'm only going to tease it that far because I'm just not sure that it's appropriate to show it to you or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I need to just weigh the ethics. That being said, let's take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll join Al Cameron out in Red Deer, Alberta, and he's going to talk to us about giving our veterans voices. Stay with me.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight for freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are two iconic artistic designs to choose from, but there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech, free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Yeah, also, how could I have forgotten one of our lead stories tonight? Remember the crazy guy that I showed you last night who was like had the crazy look in his eyes and he was talking crazy stuff about Justin Trudeau? He's been arrested. So I'm going to talk about that too. And I almost forgot, Dragon is waiting in the wings. He's going to join us tonight too. He has one nutty story to share with us. You'll see. You'll see. You don't want to miss it. We love Dragon. Let's bring in our special guest tonight, our feature interview for this evening, Al Cameron. Hello, sir. How are you tonight?
I'm doing just great, Rick. How about yourself?
I'm just fine, thank you, sir. And I'm
Good.
I'm privileged to have you here with us tonight. Just first of all, introduce yourself and tell everybody about your museum.
Well, my name is Al Cameron. I'm founding CEO of Veterans Voice of Canada. Basically, I started this organization. Next year will be 20 years. And the whole idea was to honor our past and present veterans through historical documentation, tributes, displays, and support throughout the year. So we're doing a lot of things. But the reason why I started this was to actually document veterans on camera. Before I started this, I worked in television. So I worked in television broadcast from 92 until 2005 as a videographer, cameraman, producer. And I decided I wanted to do good news. So I stopped doing the broadcast news, and I started doing something that I think was my calling all of my life, was to sit with veterans, document their stories on camera for history. And since then, I've sat with over 2,000 veterans from World War II right to Afghanistan, documented their stories. And I think we made a pretty amazing difference with the families of the veterans especially. There's a lot of stories that these veterans, the families, didn't know about their veterans until they actually saw the interviews after we did the interviews. So that's basically the end result. The museum is basically the end result of that, of starting that. But we do so much more. The last thing we started to do here, one of my other dreams was a museum, a military museum. I'm getting old now, so I figured I better get a museum going.
Well,
So here we are.
So before we move on, you're a kindred spirit, because I worked in television as well, and I also spent a lot of time as a videographer out there carrying the gear around and shooting stories. Where did you work? What station did you work at?
I started Global Television in Halifax, which used to be MITV years and years and years ago.
Okay.
And just as they were making the transition to CanWest Global, that's when I joined them. From then, I worked with City TV. I worked some with CBC, CTV. I worked with the big guys right across the country, but my calling is doing exactly what I do now.
That's great. And so
Yeah.
I always like to try and start with what's new, and maybe we can start with what is new. I guess you've just had a recent donation of some sort of a very unique artifact, a banner of some kind. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's very unique as well. But I've got amazing, unique items here. I've got world-class items here that I've been gifted by either the families or the veterans that I knew. And one thing that just came in a couple of days ago, which is, again, really unique Canadian historical, Canadiana, if you want to call it. But about a month, and I would say a couple of weeks ago, I was contacted by the family of a gentleman, and he was a Calgary Tank Dieppe veteran. So on August 19th, 1942, he and 5,000 other Canadians attempted to take the beaches in Dieppe. They were stopped, obviously, and a lot of them were taken prisoners of war. So approximately 3,500 were either taken prisoner of war and or killed. I was contacted by the son and daughter of one of those guys, one of those Calgary tankers, and they had a really unique piece of history, like I just said. When they were taken to Stalag 8B, originally the Germans found that there might have been a couple of Germans who were actually manacled after the actual Dieppe raid. So when they came into the camp, the Germans took our guys, put handcuffs on them, and in a lot of cases put leg irons on our guys. So this one gentleman, a little bit of a rebel, throughout being a prisoner of war, and you probably heard the story, but a lot of the guys found a way to open these cuffs. And one of the ways they did this was through the sardine cans. They had the little key that you roll around the can to open it up. You're probably familiar with that. Yeah. Apparently they used that key to open the sardine cans to open the locks for their handcuffs and their leg irons. So during the day, they would be wearing these cuffs. During the night, they would take them off. And what happened with this one particular gentleman, he was a ball player. And what he did was he actually went to one of the administration buildings in the camp, Stalag 8B, tore down a banner, a German banner, and took it back to his we'll say his home in the camp, and he took his manacles off. He wrapped these manacles up in this banner like a baseball, and put a leather covering over it and made a baseball out of this banner and handcuffs. So I guess this really drove the German guards crazy because they couldn't find this. They didn't know who did it. But he actually made a ball out of the manacles and the banner, and he ended up taking it home after he was liberated. So the family, again, a couple of weeks ago, contacted me. They knew about what I was doing here in central Alberta, in Red Deer in particular, and they felt that it would be better to be on display here. We get a lot of people coming through here, so I'll show it to you here right now if you want to see it.
Sure, yeah. Let's take a look.
Now, again, the display is exactly how they gave it to me. It's in a shadow box. So what I do here, the one thing I promote here in this museum is I make sure that there is no censorship. Everything is as you would find it World War II. The guys brought it back. I mean, there's flags here. There's German flags, Nazi flags, the big old bad swastika across it. But that's part of history. My uncles fought against the Germans World War II. I've got 2 North Nova Scotia Highlander D-Day veterans, a Cape Breton Highlander veteran, aunts that served in the forces, served during the war as well. But I'll stop here now and I'll just take you a wander through.
Okay.
So I'm going to walk right through, and I'm just going to turn this around. Hopefully I get this right. But so you're going to see this really amazing display here. Okay. So what you hear is obviously that is the banner that these are the cuffs. You can see those.
Yes.
I think I've got
those are the actual cuffs, and that's the actual banner. And he rolled that up, and that was in the center of the ball.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, we're losing your internet connection a
that
little
they put in place. It's just a ball, just to show what a softball looks like, I guess. But so that's the actual banner. Okay. I'll show it to you here. So that's basically this is one of that's.
There we go. Yeah, we lost your internet connection. You'll have to reconnect. I don't know if he's going to be aware. I'll tell you what, folks, let's take a real quick break. We'll come back. We'll let Al get reconnected. And if necessary, I'll phone him to get him back on the line so we can continue with his interview from the Veterans Voices Museum out in Red Deer, Alberta. Oh, there he is. All right. Well,
sorry, guys. I was in a bad spot.
Yeah, we just lost your signal. But that's okay. We're able
so
to
I'll
see
have
it.
to stay up in this end of the building here. So. Perfect.
Yeah, that's okay.
So that's just one of the amazing items we have here. It's just I'm in a weird, unusual place for a museum. I'm in a mall. The mall here has been really good, understanding what I'm trying to do, and they donate the space to me. So.
Right. So tell us about that relationship and how that came to be. Why is that important, and how is it mutually beneficial?
Well, it's mutually beneficial for me because they do donate the space. We're a nonprofit organization, and as many know, nonprofits are basically professional panhandlers, this is what I've been doing for the last 20 years. I left a good job in television, good paying job in television, to do what I love. This is my passion. So it's good for me in that they allow us to be in here. Secondly, I get people coming into the museum who wouldn't normally be interested in history or a museum. So I get people who walk by, oh, this looks really cool. Let's take a look. So I get a lot of people walking by who appreciate it after they leave. They come in 15, 20 minutes later, they left, and they've just been educated on Canadian history, and in this case, military history. So that's really important, and it's been growing ever since I've been here. If I could show it to you without losing the video, it's growing. I'm basically bursting at the seams right here with the donations that people make as far as artifacts go. There's a lot of Canadiana, a lot of military artifacts that people throw away. I've saved a lot from actually being thrown away, which is it's a good thing that it's saved. It's a sad thing that our history is being thrown away like it is. Not on my watch. It's not going to happen, you know. So this is why it's important, and how it's beneficial to Veterans Voice of Canada. It's beneficial to them because they get more people coming into the mall. There's a lot of people who specifically come to this mall to talk with myself, talk with my volunteers who are here. I've got several volunteers who are veterans. They are here to answer questions and to talk history, which is great. And yeah, just an amazing relationship for sure.
Yeah. Are you surprised at how history is fading away? Are you alarmed by it, concerned?
I'm not surprised, but I am alarmed. This is something that's, without getting crazy political, this is something that over the last many years has been picked at and tried to be put aside and even buried. And for me, we're talking not only Canadian and not only veterans, but you're talking my family who served and sacrificed a lot. And I won't allow that to happen. And I know I get many people coming through here when I'm here myself. And a big part of the conversation is we have to do better. And they're very happy to see this. They're very happy to see other things like this. I'm basically the only military museum here in Central Alberta. And my intention is to make it grow and to become one of the best museums, Canadian military museums here in Central Alberta. And although it's Canadian military centered and oriented, I cover the good, bad, and the ugly, the good guys and the bad guys. I want people to understand exactly what we have here, what our Canadian history is, how important it is. When people come in here, and I've got a wall here based on the Holocaust. When people come in and say they never heard of the Holocaust, then I say, okay, we've got a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also see efforts made by some to tear history down these days and even rewrite our history in some cases. So being accurate and authentic, that's extremely important. And why don't you just take us for a little tour in the area where you do have a signal and show us some of what you have to offer there at the museum? Can we do that?
Sure. I won't go down to the far end because that's where I will lose you apparently. So I'll just stick in this corner here. Right behind me, you see, it's the Canadian Afghanistan commemorative flag. Okay. So on that is there's 159 names on this flag. 158 are the Canadian soldiers who we lost in Afghanistan. The last one, his name is Andrew Doron, and he was killed in Iraq in 2015. But because he was in that theater, they felt it appropriate that he be on this flag, which is appropriate. Blackbird Industries, who are a veteran-owned company, they supplied me with this flag. They're awesome guys, really cool guys. This flag is the flag that I use as my backdrop when I do interviews with Canadian Afghanistan veterans. Okay. Right here, you can see I think you can see the olive, or they call it relish, camouflage. This is from Mark Campbell. He served in the Canadian Navy, not during Afghanistan, but that is a uniform that he wore when he served. And it's a uniform that the guys and gals when they went to Afghanistan in the Navy would have worn. So that's his authentic uniform. And just over here, the other desert camel, that is of Don Fraser. And he is an Afghanistan veteran. He's a friend of mine. And he served one tour in Afghanistan. And what the guys really appreciated him because he was a cook. They call him the ice cream man. So, which is really cool in itself. I sat and interviewed Don for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And what he would do, he would go to the forward observation bases, and he would bring the guys cool drinks, ice cream, and all that kind of thing to raise morale. So that's the uniform that he wore over there. He was also the first, I believe, cook who was outside the wire acting as a medic assistant. So he helped a lot of the guys and gals after firefights come back in. He was actually he was boots on the ground, and he actually has been there and he's done that. So what I really like to do is to have authentic uniforms, artifacts that have been there. I get a lot of people come in, they say, is this real? I'm like, well, everything in here is real. 99.9% of it is authentic. So that's the difference between authentic and real. The flag, the Canadian flag you see back there, that's the last Canadian flag that flew at Camp Mirage, Forward Observation Camp Mirage. And that was gifted to me by Kevin Thibault. And he was a captain, I believe. And when he found out what I was doing here, he felt that this is where it should be. So this is a small Afghanistan display, and I hope to grow and make this bigger again. Yeah, it really, I am doing a documentary called The 158, and that is based on honoring the 158 who couldn't come back to tell their story by documenting 158 who could. So if you can see right here, you'll see this banner right here. It's called The 158. And I get a lot of Afghanistan veterans coming in here. And when they do come in, firstly, I asked them, are they willing to do an interview with me? 75% aren't ready, and the other 25% do help or do an interview. But I also get them to sign that banner for me as because they were part of the operations there. Right here behind me, you will see a 1942 Dingo. It's a reconnaissance vehicle. And this was by a veteran, an RCMP veteran, actually, Al Nicholson, who's a history buff, and he just gets what we do here. So he wanted to loan us this 1942 Dingo. And this will be part of the August 19th, 2024 anniversary of D-Day, or of DIEP. So this is part of that. The other items I showed you, that will be part of the whole display as well, anniversary display. And yeah, so that's a part of it. I'm not sure if you want me to keep going here or not.
Yeah,
but,
keep going. I'm very interested in this stuff. Yeah, and I guess you have to stay down at the one end of the building there. So I know you have a Jeep
I've got
as
so much
well,
down here.
but
yeah, I'll give you a long shot here. But basically, again, it's not a end product as far as the museum goes, but it's getting there, and we're going the right direction. I'll come down here, and hopefully we won't lose the signal. But as you see right here, these are some more DIEP items. This ration box was actually donated to me by the family of Bill as well. Where the banner and the manacles I just talked about came from. Mm-hmm. Before he was liberated, a couple of days before they were liberated, they knew they were going to be liberated. So they got these ration boxes actually given to them a couple of days ahead of time. Bill used one, and he took one back fully. And this is what you see. These are 82-year-old crackers that you see in there. I haven't tried them. I'm just going to take it. I'm going to take their word that they are 82 years old. But there's cigarettes in there. There's sardines. There's coffee. There's a tea. In the top there, you can see a tea bag. These are rare as hen's teeth items. And to say I'm lucky to have these is a kind of an understatement. I'm very fortunate to have them. Very fortunate that I'm honored that these families want to leave them with me in their care. So the idea anniversary of DIEP is coming up in another couple of weeks. I want to make sure we have an amazing display so that more people can learn about DIEP. So it's really important. Behind me here, you can see this. This is I've got an Indigenous veteran as a volunteer as well. His name is Sergeant Daryl Lickers, and this is he does a lot of ceremonies in the local area. He also does counseling throughout North America. And when he does his ceremonies locally or throughout the world where he does his ceremonies, this is the beaded uniform that he wears and uses. He was 25-year airborne veteran. He also worked in corrections afterwards, and I'm just really fortunate that he's volunteering here with me. So some really cool items here. Really cool items. I'll show you one more, and then sure. I don't want to go venture too far back. Okay, here, I don't want to lose you.
Yeah.
So right behind me here this is the uniform of a Private Lou Lamy. And Lou was a really good friend of mine. I met him at a ceremony for the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion, probably back in about 2014 or 15, I guess it was. Lou passed away about 4 years ago now. And there we go there. And again, he knew what I was here, big supporter of what I do. And not long after he passed, his family gifted me with his tunic, his battle dress, obviously his beret, his medals, and his, it's a recent facsimile of the Denison that he wore as well. But the medals are what you see here. His certificates saying that he's good to pack a parachute, which is probably a good thing if you're a paratrooper. You want to make sure that your parachute is done properly. So there's the certification saying that he did that. And then you can see some more paperwork. That's his pay book and his discharge certificate there. So again, I'm honored, unbelievably, to be able to have this in my possession for people to learn about and for people to appreciate what these guys did for us. I can't say enough about these guys. World War II, right to Afghanistan, all the people that I met along the way. They're amazing people, and they want to make sure that we maintain our freedoms. That's why they sacrifice so much.
Sure. And to understand what's going on today geopolitically, to understand these conflicts that we're seeing unfold around the world, in Ukraine, in Gaza, and elsewhere, you really need to understand history, and that's what this is all about. This museum at what's the name of the mall? Is it Parkland Mall? Where's that?
Yeah, the mall is called Parkland Mall. It's in North Red Deer, and again, I believe it's an Ontario or a company that owns the mall, who in the end say, yes, Al is good to be there. Veterans Voice of Canada can be there. They're just amazing. They're so supportive of what I do. I can throw anything at them and they're ready to go with it. We've got the wildfires out here happening, and 2 weeks ago I approached them and said I want to do a wildfire relief, which I usually do when catastrophes happen, because I lost our house in a house fire and I lost my dad in a house fire about 40 years ago. So I understand that. So whenever anything like this happens, I approach people and say, let's get together and do this. So the Parkland Mall allowed me a big space here as well last week, and we were able to deliver over 5 tons of needed items to the people up in Jasper, and we raised some money as well for them. But yeah, so I personally feel that we have to give back, and in this way with Veterans Voices of Canada and some of the other things we're doing, like the wildfire relief, I think we're doing a good job giving back. So
that's excellent. And you mentioned that you're producing a documentary, that you do these interviews. Where can people see this work?
Well, as far as the interviews go, I've got some on my website. I share a lot on social media, and I've got to get more on my website, because as we see on Facebook, we're not, I've always said I'm going to keep my website. I want to make sure that I've got full access to what for these interviews for everybody. So my website, vetvoicecan.org. Different again, Facebook, which is a big thing for everybody these days. Some Instagram, mostly the website. But I really have to get working on doing the interviews. I've got so much happening. I need some good, experienced, history interested editors to help me get those online. So
here's your website.
And there we go. That's exactly it.
And let me just put a banner up here for you so people can find you. I'll get rid of that, and I'll make a new one. And it's vetvoicecan.org.
That's correct. Yeah. And now that I see you've got the veteran page up there with the interviews, you'll see a Pearly Cameron. He was my uncle, and he and Ernie Hill on my uncle on my maternal side, were a big part of the reason why I started what I do. And Pearly, unfortunately, I missed the opportunity to document him. I was just getting ready to interview him, and he had to hold off. He was actually going on his honeymoon at 82 years old. he was going on his honeymoon, so he put the interview back on the back burner. But I had a funny feeling, a gut feeling that it wasn't going to happen. And about 2 months later, he passed away. So I missed the opportunity to interview him, but somebody else had interviewed him, gave me a raw copy of the interview, and I cut it, I edited it, and put it on the website. So he, Pearlie Cameron, and Ernest Glenmore Hill were North Nova Scotia Highlander D-Day vets. Pearlie, on my dad's side, my dad's brother, he made it through right to Germany and made it back to Canada and passed away in 2001. Ernie Hill, who is my mom's uncle, so it's my great uncle, he was killed on July 25th, 1944. So these are the two main reasons, these gentlemen are the two main reasons why I started Veterans Voices of Canada. And again, I know that we're making a difference. I get feedback all the time that we are making a difference with what we do here.
Yeah. And I guess the big challenge, as always, is funding, right? So please talk to us about that. What do you need?
Well, I always say that it's being a nonprofit organization, you're a professional panhandler. So, and that's probably the part that I don't like the most about doing this work is, unfortunately, it's got to be paid for. When I first started this organization, I just did it on my own. So all my savings went into the organization the first 3 years, and then it dried up. So it's like, okay, I've got to become a nonprofit. And being a nonprofit isn't as easy as people might think. So that's the biggest challenge we have is fundraising. I do something else called Flags of Remembrance, which is coming up September 7th. And that's our main, and there you go, that's our main fundraiser to not only honor the veterans, but to also raise funds for our organization. So this is it's an initiative that I started 10 years ago, and it's grown since the interest has grown. It honors the 128,000 Canadian killed and missing in action by flying 128 full-size Canadian flags. It goes for a mile, and it's a pretty amazing sight. But on each one of those flagpoles, there's a name of a veteran on a plaque of honor, and those are sponsored. So that's our main fundraiser. We also operate we've got a donation box here at the museum. People can check our money order. They can send some, if they're interested in donating, they can go to the website and see that information there as to how to donate. And working on a new platform to do online donations as well. But for now, we're going to be going with the check money order, that type of a thing. And we also do e-transfers, which is pretty easy to do. A lot of people will appreciate that. And we're hoping for grants as well. Those are harder to come by these days. So.
Yes. Well, I think, the vets themselves need more support too. How are the veterans doing in your area? Are they, we hear really, concerning stories about the way our vets are treated.
I think I can actually say, because I talk to a lot of veterans, and I can honestly say that a lot of them say it's getting better. There's still a long way to go yet, but it's better. It's slowly getting better. And in the end, still, we've got homelessness. We've got PTSD that anybody who's served in any way, any deployment or wherever, there's so many different ways to get PTSD, but we're dealing with that. That's being taken care of slowly, but better than it was, as I said. There's a lot of veterans who have a lot of good things to say about how they're being treated, which is great to hear. I know where I'm set up in here, I get a lot of veterans who come in and they're obviously homeless or not doing so well. And I try to help out where I can there. If they need something, come and ask me and we'll make something happen for you. So we do that as much as possible. But again, there's homelessness, the food bank, there's a veteran food bank that just started out here. And I know there's a lot of them, and there's a reason for that, because they need help and they need food, they need lodging, housing, PTSD support. So a lot of these things that are being made to happen are basically civilians like myself or other veterans who want to continue helping their guys and the gals. So there's a lot of good work being done out there. The biggest problem that any of us have is the funding. That's the biggest problem we have. So I just, for Veterans Voice of Canada, we rely on the support of people like yourself, people who come in here every day. Yeah, just your typical ways to get funding and donations. So.
All right. And I'll just tell people how they can get in contact with you to support what you're doing if they would like to do that.
That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, go for, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so please explain how they can reach you. Should they just go through the website? Is there a contact page there? Do you have an email address, or how should they go about reaching you if they need to do that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the information is there on that website, the contact page, but AC, or actually info@vetvoicecan.org is probably the great place to go, and that will come to me through the system. And then the email is ac@vetvoicecan.org as well for me directly. But go through the info@vetvoicecan.org. That'd be a good way to do it. Either of those two ways. And then you've got there's the contact information through the website where the address is. The slow mail address is there. Snail mail address is there. And there's contact phone number there as well. So if people feel like they want to reach out and talk about for whatever reason, they can feel free to do that. And those are the three ways to do that. So.
Okay, so ac@vetvoicecan.org is your email address. Or you can go straight to the website at vetvoicecan.org, and there's a contact page there as well. So that will also get you to Al. Al, is there anything else you would like to add or think that we might have missed this evening?
I think we covered quite a bit. The veteran interviews is why I started doing this. We've got the Flags of Remembrance that happens every year coming up September 7th, which is an amazing event and tribute. Take a look at that video that you were on earlier. Go to the Flags Remembrance page, click on that video. You'll see an amazing ceremony happen. We've got the military museum going here. So just the best thing to say is, if you get a chance and you see a veteran, just buy him a coffee, buy her a coffee, just give him a slap don't give him a slap in the back, but say thank you very much for your service. And they appreciate that. Let's just keep doing good stuff, be positive, and hopefully good things are going to happen in the near future. So.
Well, you are doing good things. You're in a great location because you're reaching a lot of people that otherwise you might not reach. So it's generous of the landlord there, the company, to give you access to that mall. Great venue. And from what I've seen tonight, it's not just one of the best museums in Alberta. This is one of the best museums in all of Canada. So I'm very grateful for you sharing your time with us tonight. And I'm going to tap you as a resource in the future when we need information on history and geopolitical things as it relates to history. So thank you, Al, very much for helping us out here tonight.
I appreciate the opportunity to give what we're doing more exposure. So thanks so much, Rick. I appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
All right. We'll be in touch with you again. Take care.
Cheers.
And I'll be back right after this, folks.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, are you guys ready to dig into today's top news stories? I guess I am too. Last night, we'll start with this. Last night I showed you, near the end of the broadcast, a guy with crazy eyes, and I said, I don't know who he is, but probably would be a good idea to stay away from this fella. I have the video queued up here again. This person allegedly, even though you can still find it online, he allegedly, yeah, he did. He threatened the prime minister. Okay, he just comes right out and does it. But I mean, in a very aggressive way, shall we say. I'm not going to run the whole video again. I didn't run the whole thing last night either because what he says is extremely inflammatory and I don't want to promote what it is that he's calling for. But here's a little taste of what this guy did, and then I'm going to tell you what happened to him.
I hope the government's fucking watching now. And I hope it's not just the Canadian government. I hope fucking Xi Jinping is watching this too. I hope Klaus Schwab is watching this too. I hope you're all fucking watching this, okay? I'm marching on Ottawa, and it's not just gonna be me. 10,000 of us are...
Okay, that's enough. I'm not going to run any more of that. If you've ever run into that guy and he's talking like that, my advice is stay away and don't follow him because he's going to get you into trouble. He already got himself into trouble. He has been arrested for threatening the prime minister. He literally, and I'm going to tell you because it's just truth, he came out and said that he wouldn't quit until he had personally beheaded the prime minister. All right. So I keep talking to you guys about being very careful about who you follow, what you're watching online. Obviously, this gentleman needs some help, and I hope he gets it. Okay. Because this is too much. He's been arrested. I need to find my notes on this. And was taken into custody. I told you he was going to get in trouble. Let me find the details here again. I had it. Okay, so his name in my notes what's his name? Yeah, his name is Dawid Zalewski. No fixed address. Now, I looked him up, and I found out that he went to my old alma mater, Fanshawe College, one of the schools that I went to in London, Ontario. He has a LinkedIn page as well. Says that he is a computer software writer. I guess he writes code. And yeah, here he is here. Here's Dawid Zalewski. Dawid. Let me show you his Twitter profile. Pretty alarming stuff, honestly, from where I'm sitting. There's his LinkedIn. And obviously, he must be a smart guy. Freelance software developer with over 10 years experience in creating innovative and scalable solutions for various clients. And everybody calling me while I'm on the show. I'm going to turn that off. For various clients and industries, my core competencies include DevOps, cloud computing, Python, Java. So smart guy, but maybe lacking a little wisdom or maybe just misguided because of something he has been exposed to. You can see from, well, people commented on the look in his eyes.
Are marching on Ottawa.
Okay, just, what can I say? There's something wrong. So I hope that this works out okay for him. He is 33 years old. He's been charged with 2 counts of threats. Arrested by the RCMP. This happened in the Greater Toronto area, somewhere in the GTA. Mounties noted that York Regional Police helped to locate and apprehend him. And this arrest follows the arrest of 3 other people also accused of threatening the Prime Minister on social media. Again, you know, even if you're joking, and this is why I have like zero tolerance for anything, any discussion of violence in the chat, whatever. You can't, no, not around here. That's not what we're about around here. And this is where it leads. 3 other people arrested, as I said last week, for making similar kinds of threats on social media. And not cool, guys. And don't even joke about it, because it's not just what you say that can and will be used against you in a court of law. It's also what you post online on social media. That is becoming actually a huge issue over in the UK in particular, because where we've seen these riots taking place over the last week, the new government with Keir Starmer, is cracking down on what they're characterizing as hate speech, or speech that incites violence. So, and they're doing that by cracking down on social media posts. Exactly what I'm talking about here. They're taking it all very, very seriously. And in fact, a woman has now been arrested, a 55-year-old woman arrested in the UK on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred and false communications. She's currently being held in police custody. And it is, as I say, in relation to a post which has been fueled by malicious, what's being called by malicious, and the process rather has been fueled by malicious and inaccurate communications online. That's what is being said about the charge. That's what the charge is, I guess. And it's, I should serve as a reminder again that you have to be very careful about what you say. And you shouldn't be saying this stuff anyway. I shouldn't even have to say this to people. But people are being subjected, honestly, and I've talked about this, to so much propaganda, so much real information, so much negativity, so much of a side, just everything. People are getting caught up in the emotions of all this stuff. I'm just making a change here. Here's Sky News picking up on this story. They broke the story of, I guess, this 55-year-old woman being arrested. Let's just give you a little clip here.
We have some breaking news now, and a woman has been arrested by Cheshire Police in relation to an inaccurate information on social media about the attacker in the Southport murders. It says a 55-year-old woman from near Chester was arrested earlier today, Thursday the 8th, of course, on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred and false communications. She is currently being held in police custody. Chief Superintendent Alison Ross has also made a statement saying that this is in relation to a post which has been fueled by malicious and the process rather has been fueled by malicious and inaccurate communications online. It is a stark reminder of the dangers of posting information on social media platforms without checking the accuracy. It's also a warning that we are all accountable for our actions.
Indeed. Now, I'm not sure I agree with the government's approach to this at all, but that is what is happening. So you need to be aware of what's happening over there. Can and likely will start happening here at some point. That's just the way these kinds of things work. And here is the Director of Public Prosecutions of England and Wales warning that sharing online media of riots could be an offense. So it's not just what you post, it's even just sharing now anything that might be considered hateful or inflammatory material that could be considered to have an effect of inciting violence of some kind. Here's what I'm talking about.
The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing. The offence of incitement to racial hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
So yeah, I am very worried about that. I'm worried about where it's all going. It's about censorship. It's about shutting people up largely. And I'm just warning everybody, letting you know that's where things are at. And a lot of people concerned about the politics surrounding censorship. That is the result, I think, of the new political realities that we are facing in our society, in Western society, where identity politics has taken hold. The only way to, I think, when you look at it from a philosophical point of view, an ideological point of view, the only way to make identity politics work in a multicultural environment is through some degree of authoritarianism. And that is because you have people divided into camps and tribes. And that's the new reality. Now, how's that going to play out over the long term? I don't know, because somehow we have shifted from a society where tolerance was the order of the day and individual rights and freedoms, and now it has become division and identity politics, people divided into camps, and we have people fighting with each other. So until we figure out a way to get along, we're gonna have the authorities stepping in and policing what we say and how we say it about each other, and that is where things are at. Sorry, I don't agree with it, but that's where it is. Now, what was I want to say? Oh yes, talking about that kind of authoritarianism. It's a lot of accusations about two-tiered policing over there. I think, some justification in those kinds of feelings among people. We're seeing it in the streets. We've seen it here in Canada to some degree. Peel, the Peel principles of policing have kind of gone out the window. We have a new approach to policing. I would say it's progressive policing, a progressive ideology that has been applied to policing in Canada, in the United States as well, and certainly over in the UK. So the Peel principles have gone out. Now we have progressive policing, and you're seeing the results of that in the streets. It's also, I think, an indication of the end of the relationship between labor and the working class. You have a labor government in the UK, and that labor government, labor used to actually represent, well, the working class, especially the white working class in the UK, in Canada. But we have seen a separation. We've seen the Labour Party, or in Canada, the NDP, sort of drift away, get away from their base of support, sort of the white working class union types, right? In Canada, we were even seeing the NDP has become more the party, I think, of immigration and defending rights, but it's generally speaking more minority rights, and that's more their focus, less so on the labor side. Kamala Harris tonight, still in Detroit, trying to shore up support with what I think she perceives to be her base, which is unions. But even there are cracks developing, and that's long time support between the Democrats, who I would say sort of represent the American version of Labor, or the American version of the New Democratic Party in Canada. That relationship has been eroded, very seriously damaged, because the Democrats also have kind of shifted their focus politically, and you have, the Squad and AOC and that group embracing progressive politics and immigration and minority rights, and that has sort of pushed a big portion of the labor movement out of the Democrat Party into the populist camp. And that's why you're seeing more of them migrating. You have seen them migrate over into the MAGA camp, into the Republican arena, because the Republicans have become more populist underneath or under Trump, as he's taken over that party, and the MAGA movement has taken over the party. So that's all, a very real thing, and it's having very serious effects on what we're seeing in this presidential election. Now, some people also saying that RFK Jr. has been in that populist camp, but, and I hate to use the word weird, because the Democrats have been basing their new campaign with Kamala Harris on that word, right? Weird. Trump is weird. Vance is weird. Everything's weird. They're a bunch of weirdos over there. All the MAGA people are weirdos. For Hillary, the word deplorable was used, but of course that backfired on her, and everybody just took that and ran with it and turned it into something that everyone could be proud of. I'm a deplorable. But the weirdo thing seems to be having a different effect. It seems to be sticking. It's getting traction. I don't think Trump likes it very much. But where RFK Jr. is concerned, it really seems to apply, because we've seen in just even recent days this story that has come out about him dumping the bear in Central Park, and that was just 10 years ago, showing maybe a lack of judgment. If he had been caught at the time, he would have faced charges of some kind. But of course, the statute of limitations means that he won't be charged now for that offense. But he admits doing it. Tried to get out in front of this story in the New Yorker magazine that has been coming out dealing with all of that. There was that. There has been, other weird stuff. His brainworm story. There was the whole Vanity Fair article, talking about him possibly eating a dog, which he denies, which he says was actually a goat. His whole campaign seems to be falling apart. He had some real momentum, but the spotlight has been taken off of him. And when some light does reach him now, it's all weird stuff that's coming out. As a result, the campaign hasn't even been putting on really any dedicated RFK Jr. events. Instead, they've been opting to piggyback on other events, like the Bitcoin conference, where he spoke and talked about his plan to set up a strategic Bitcoin reserve in order to, I guess, shore up the U.S. economy and provide a backstop against possible economic disruptions. But that being said, he's suffering at the polls. He's just not getting traction like he was. And in fact, he has been slipping in the polls. And many media outlets are taking note of that here tonight. In fact, here's an NBC article, RFK Jr.'s incredible disappearing campaign. The subheading says Kennedy's impact on the 2024 election is slipping as his campaign stops putting on its own events. And he drops in the polls, just like I said. His last public event was in Freeport, Maine, back in July 9th. And then since then, he's been doing a lot of online stuff. He went to that cryptocurrency conference. He's been doing some interviews with people, but he just hasn't had the traction. He doesn't have the support, the following to put on large scale events at this point. So he seems to be fading away. And some other, weird things have gone on with him too. Like the recorded phone call when Trump called him. It offered him a position in a Trump administration, and it was recorded, and then it was leaked out. That seemed pretty weird to me as well. And I just draw attention to it because, how could he possibly have not known that his own videographer was rolling on that? It also, in my view, may show a lack of judgment. And maybe that is why his support seems to be fading, eroding. So it seems to be a pretty tight two-way race between Harris and Trump. And we're seeing tonight as well that Trump is now has reconsidered. It looks like he will go ahead with the debate on ABC with Kamala Harris. That's the other breaking news on the election front. Trump, of course, was hoping that he could maybe forego the ABC debate and wanted Kamala to debate him in a Fox News debate. Not sure how that will play out over time, but tonight we're seeing that he has reconsidered. It looks like he's going to go ahead and still proceed with the original debate on ABC, which was scheduled, which was set up for him and Biden, Trump and Biden. Now it will be Trump and Harris. And let me just find the exact date for that. I don't want to get it wrong. Trump Harris debate, ABC, September 10th. So it's coming up. We're 1 month away. 1 month, a little over a month away. And I'm not sure exactly how much of a crowd Kamala Harris is really generating. We're seeing all this war of visuals going on, this information war on social media, where they're showing us pictures of Trump rallies versus Kamala Harris rallies. But what they're not telling you in some of those posts is that they're putting on full-scale concerts. And Kamala Harris is speaking at them. And so the concerts, of course, free concerts, and they attract big crowds. But at the Trump rallies, that's just Trump speaking with his guests, his lists of, speakers. It's a Trump rally. It's just Trump. It's not like a concert. Trump doesn't really need to bring in big name musicians and acts to generate a crowd. So it's hard to really gauge at this point how much support Kamala Harris actually has, how much of a crowd she's really attracting on her own. Speaking of concerts, Pat King, freedom convoy, freedom activist, I guess, political activist. He's been banned from attending a concert. Of course, he turned himself into the authorities on an alleged breach of his conditions for release prior to that. But now he's been banned from attending an event that he had been promoting, I guess, online when he was producing live hits to generate support for himself and donations for his legal bills, which he was, I guess, allowed to do as part of his release. He was permitted to do that for fundraising purposes only. So he was online. He had a number of auctions. I'm sure that most of you in our community they're aware of what he was doing. And then the allegations now are that he breached his conditions because he said some things online that he was not supposed to say. But I think his bail hearing is actually tomorrow. There'll be a hearing tomorrow, so maybe we'll find out exactly how that will develop, what the verdict is. I don't know what the end result of that will be tomorrow. But he has been banned from this event called Rock the Track, I believe. Yeah, Rock the Track. It started today. And it's an interesting thing. He's been banned. He just mentioned it, I guess, in one of his live streams where he was doing some fundraising. But it isn't clear to me if any of the funds from this were actually going to go to him or not. But, thousands of people will be at this event. They are there, I guess, tonight. Runs tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. Rock the Track. And where is this? It's at a racetrack. at the, what's it called here? Some speedway. It's at 6740 Street, Rimbey, Alberta. And so I know that this has Nazareth and who's the other performer? Biff Naked. See if we can go back here. The internet a little sluggish here tonight. Okay, we don't need that. Let's just go back here to rockthetrack.ca. Is it going to give it to us? It's stuck on this page. The internet is completely frozen up here. Hang on just a moment. It's not working for us. Let me take a little break here while I fix the internet so I can show you what I need to show you. More coming down the pipe. Hang on.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, I'm back, and here's what this concert's all about. Now that I'm not trying to promote it. I don't have anything to do with this. But let's take a look and see what it's about.
Stoke up your summer with Rock the Track, starring Headstones, Nazareth, Honeymoon Suite, Biff Naked, and the Northern Pipes.
She ain't pretty, she just looks that way.
Get your early bird tickets at Show Pass, August 8th to 10th. Live at Fire and Flood Emergency Services Speedway Rimbey. Rock the Track, presented by Fire and Flood Emergency Services Speedway Society, Charisma Concerts, and Red Deer's Classic Rock. Z98.9.
Oh, yeah, baby. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Monster trucks at the track and Nazareth with Biff Naked. And Pat King, who will not be there because he's being banned. Why, I don't know, because the bans when inquiries have been made and the people from the bands, some of them say they don't even know who Pat King is. They don't know what this is about. He just mentioned this thing. So I don't get it personally, but there's a big deal being made out of him being banned from going to this concert. So I'm just telling you about it. That's it. Okay, so what else was there? There was something related to this. I have so many stories tonight. So there was this, and then my notes. Oh, yes. There was all of that, and then there was there's the Jordan Peterson thing, right? So that's sort of related. I sort of lost my segue from that to this, but I can tell you that in national news, Canada's highest court has put an end to Jordan Peterson's legal challenge against an order for remedial coaching. The author and University of Toronto professor, who has not practiced clinically since 2017, but remains a member of the College of Psychologists of Ontario, found himself under scrutiny by the college in 2022. The issue, his conduct on social media, What have we been talking about here? The whole darn thing, right? Everything tonight is coming back to what you're saying on social media. Do I agree with it? No, of course not. I don't believe in censorship. But here we are again. It's like Jordan Peterson got himself into trouble because of what he was doing online. Not that he really, in my view, did anything wrong. This is improper, but after a review, the college has concluded that Peterson's online comments appeared degrading, demeaning, and unprofessional, posing a potential risk to the public. As a result, Peterson has been directed to undergo a coaching program to reconsider his approach to public statements. The college warned that failure to comply could lead to accusations of professional misconduct. Peterson's attempts to challenge this decision in court have now been fully rejected, meaning no more room for appeal, no more avenues for appeal. Both the Ontario Superior Court of Justice and the Court of Appeal dismissed his legal appeals. So it looks like that's the end of the line for Mr. Peterson. So if he wants to practice psychology, he will need to go through this re-education process, I guess, and that's how I would describe it. I think it's wrong. I don't agree with it at all because this is clearly political. It has very little to do, if anything, with his conduct as a professional, but it certainly is political. They don't like his politics. Now, I think his case is, well, his case is pretty extreme. I think that the people coming after him, they are extreme in what they've done to him, in my view. But sorry, distracted here by some other stuff coming in. Other news on the fly. That's where the thing with Jordan Peterson goes. Threatening someone with violence like a prime minister, I certainly understand why police would show up on your doorstep. And that is what happened, though, with the other story. So don't do that. Be careful what you're doing online and understand that there are consequences. And there will be heavier consequences as we move forward. And I think with our government seeing what's going on in the UK, they are going to, they'll already have their radar up and they'll be looking for any excuse to crack down even more online, I would expect. Yeah, speaking too about that labor thing, it's very interesting. That's where I kind of got sidetracked. You've got some cracks developing in the relationship between the Democrats, the NDP, labor unions, right? At the RNC convention, we saw the head of the Teamsters union actually step up, didn't we? And he, through his support, endorsed Trump at the RNC, the Teamsters did. And then Trump came out and criticized the head of the Canadian Auto Workers Union, who is endorsing actually Kamala Harris. Trump talking a lot about the auto industry, electric vehicles, and basically saying that the CAW has betrayed American workers. I think allowing a lot of the offshoring of jobs, not fighting hard enough, I guess, to keep jobs here in North America, Canada, the United States. Not that we have the UAW here anymore. The CAW broke away from the UAW years ago, and now it's Unifor now, right? So there's been an evolution of the unions here, but the traditional lines of alliance, the traditional alliances, they're not there anymore. They're being redrawn. And what you're seeing in the UK as well, I think that signals a divorce. It marks the end of the relationship between the Labour Party and the white working class, largely. So politics is going to be different moving forward. And you are going to see, I think, the continued rise of populist parties and even nationalist parties in Western countries. So brace yourselves for that, because that is going to be one heck of a ride, I think. And I fear where that may actually lead, because while I certainly understand nationalism and don't have necessarily a problem with it, ethno-nationalism, yeah, I might have a problem with that, because that is where you get into something that goes beyond nationalism. We'll talk about that more another night. And talking about ethno this and ethno that and bringing race into the equation, have you noticed the way that Kamala Harris sort of, well, what did Trump say the other night? He said that she became black, didn't he? I just thought of this. She decided to become black. Before that, she was Indian, from like India, right? That's how she was identifying because of her heritage. So I guess she has, you know, a father who was Jamaican. She has a mother who was from India. And with, I guess there are links then back, I guess, to Africa. So whatever. But the point that I'm making is Trump is saying, well, she's claiming to be this and she's claiming to be that. And of course, she's checking certain boxes if you want to play the identity politics game. I don't think there's any question about it. And Trump, in his own way, plays the race card too by reaching out and making appeals to minority groups, including blacks, who, you know, his famous quote, "What have you got to lose?" when asking black voters to vote for him, saying the Democrats have taken the votes of the black community for granted for generations. And it seemed to work, because he did get a a record level of support from black voters. Well, Kamala Harris, though, I think she did sort of prove Donald Trump right. And the way she was speaking yesterday at her rally just outside of Detroit, listen to her accent here. She slips into this southern drawl. I posted this on Twitter X last night to illustrate this point. Listen to the way she talks. Pay attention to the accent, keeping in mind that she is speaking in Detroit to an audience that has many, many black voters in it.
I know Donald Trump's type. I know his type. In fact, I've been dealing with people like him my whole career. For example, as Attorney General of California, well, hold on, you know what? The courts are going to handle that part of it. What we're going to do is beat them in November.
Did you pick it up? I know Donald Trump's type. What we're going to do, we're going to beat him in November. What we're going to do, I can't do it. You heard what you heard it. It's just plain as day. Now, I don't know if she's doing that intentionally or if she's just slipping into it naturally. What we're going to do, like maybe because of her background and, you know, her cultural background, maybe it just comes naturally. Maybe she slips in and out of one accent to another. I don't know, but I noted it. And that, or she's pandering. Would a politician pander? No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Would they? Maybe.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Yeah, I'm doing double duty here because Dragon sent me a video. Of course, it was just sent to my phone, so I have to figure out a way to download it, produce it, get it back up in the system, bring it around, and then show it to you. So I'm working on that while I'm also trying to talk about the news. So I'm working on it. Okay, Defense Minister Bill Blair today met with the Defense Minister from Australia, Richard Marles, and they're concerned about China. They also spoke about NATO, the long-standing relationship between the two countries, what's going on in Ukraine. Let's share a little bit of that with you now. Let's bring this up. Here's Blair first, and then he's going to bring in Richard Marles, the Australian Defense Minister. Important meeting today. The two Commonwealth countries. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on, I need to fix this. I need to fix that. I've got too many things going on, but I'm doing my best.
Sales, conducting more cooperative deployments, and pursuing more multilateral exercises and training together. We further intend to reduce barriers to cooperation, including through agreements to facilitate defense industrial activities and greater operational cooperation. And further, as Canada recapitalizes its major fleets, we'll be soon welcoming new F-35 second-generation fighters, the P-8 patrol aircraft, warships based on the Type 26 design of the BAE systems, all of which are platforms that we will share in common with Australia. And today, we have committed to exploring mutual training and learning to increase the interoperability and skill set of our forces on these important essential platforms. In addition, Canada and Australia will continue to reinforce collaboration in space through cyber, research and development, advanced capabilities, and science and technology. And Canada looks forward to discussing opportunities for cooperation on the AUKUS second pillar. Together, we have agreed to look for areas of further collaboration across all domains so that we can be ready to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow and to deepen our relationship. Though Canada and Australia may find themselves on opposite sides of the world and separated by the Pacific Ocean, we will always be connected by our history and our common values. And as our world grows increasingly volatile, it's vital for us to continue working together to uphold the values we hold dear and to support peace and stability around the world. Deputy Prime Minister, I look very much forward to continuing this work together with you. Thank you for making this trip to Canada, and I'll now gratefully turn the floor over to you.
Well, thank you, Bill, and Minister, it is an enormous honour to be here in Vancouver today on my first official visit to Canada. As Bill indicated, our two countries have a deep shared history. We have deep shared values. And we are two countries which operate on the greatest basis of trust and the closest of friendships. It's a history which has been expressed in terms of defence in 2 world wars and in conflicts since. And it has a contemporary expression, as Minister Blair just said, right now, as we've met today. There are Canadian and Australian personnel working together in a maritime cooperative activity, along with personnel from the Philippines and the United States in the West Philippine Sea. That activity is based on our shared values. It is based on asserting the global rules-based order, freedom of navigation in the Indo-Pacific. Both of our countries are looking at a world today which is fragile and complex, where we are dealing with perhaps the most complex strategic circumstances that the world has seen since the end of the Second World War. As Canada has gone through its process of reviewing its strategic circumstances with its report, Our North, Strong and Free, Australia also went through a similar exercise in the Defence Strategic Review, which we released just over a year ago. That has informed new thinking about the kind of strategic challenges we face and the kind of defence force we need in terms of facing them. Both of our work has emphasised the significance of the Indo-Pacific and the challenges that we face here. And as Bill has said on a number of occasions, Canada is a Pacific nation, as is Australia. And so we find ourselves increasingly operating in a shared theatre. And it's really important that we are doing that with the greatest cooperation, and that is very much our intent. But as we look beyond that, there is so much that we have that we do together. Bill mentioned in terms of the platforms that we operate, from P8s to the F-35s to the Type 26 frigates. These are critical platforms which underpin our military capability, and the way in which we can work together in terms of learning to operate those platforms better represents one of the great opportunities for us to move forward as two countries. And it's why we're so excited to be able to announce the agreement that we've struck today in terms of having much closer cooperation across our defence forces and our defence industry spaces. We want to see our personnel working more closely together. We want to look at more opportunities in relation to exercises, building on what already happens at RIMPAC, at Exercise Kakadu, at Exercise Pitch Black in Darwin just last month. Australia's marquee exercise, Talisman Sabre, last year, and again next year Canada has participated in that as well. But we want to look at other opportunities for our Defence Force personnel to work together, and we want to look at ways in which we can improve our joint learnings in respect of the equipment that we operate and the defence industrial space in which we engage. When we think about our two countries, there are perhaps no two countries in the world which at one level are so far apart but have so much in common as Australia and Canada. And as we reach our agreement today, it is based on a shared set of values, shared strategic perspective, but it is built on the closest of friendships and the greatest of trust. And really that's what enables us to do so much more in the future. We really are pleased with the opportunity of being able to meet today. We look very much forward to the way in which we can move forward together. Ours is an old friendship and an old relationship, but to have a...
Okay, enough. It's just, they're just hugging each other and talking about how they love each other. And what else can I say about it except that that's just, what they're doing. So it's not a big deal. It is a big deal, but it isn't a big deal. You know what I'm saying? What is a big deal is Japan, potentially big deal is Japan is warning of a heightened risk of a mega quake tonight. This is the first time ever they've done this. They issued this warning about an increased risk of a major earthquake striking in the near future. So this advisory has been issued as of today, and they're telling people to be alert. They're saying don't evacuate. They are saying that this warning does not mean a large-scale megaquake is imminent, but they are saying the probability is higher than usual. It's like, you should be scared, but don't panic. This is a warning that has come because of a 7.1 magnitude earthquake that occurred off the southern island of Kyushu, and it reportedly caused no major damage, because it happened out in the ocean, essentially, right? away from populated areas, but they're putting people on alert because of where the epicenter sat, which is at the edge of the Nankai Trough, an area of seismic activity which stretches along Japan's Pacific coast. Here's a picture of a map. I don't know if it'll help you or not, but I'll show it to you. I'm not sure I understand exactly what it is, but here it is. They got a red line and stuff on it. So where the red line is, that's where they're worried. That's the Nankai Trough, folks. And they had a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. Now they're worried that it could trigger a megaquake, maybe within Japan on land, which would be, pretty serious. So that's the first time they've ever done that. So that's happening tonight. What was the other story we had lined up for you before we get to Dragon stuff, which I'm still trying to finish producing here? It's got to render out. Body cam footage. Should have run this earlier because this is actually a major development in the investigation into the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. You remember all the talk about the police officer, the two police officers that confronted the gunman and became aware of the gunman on the roof? And the one police officer actually kind of climbed up and was peering up to look at the guy, and then the weapon was pointed at him and then fell down. Now we have body cam footage of all this going on. Do you want to see it? Of course you do. So do I. This is a major and very important piece of evidence that will help investigators drill down and get to the truth, and no question about it. So let's take a look at this stuff. Here we go. Silent at the beginning. Audio comes in about halfway through, and you can hear that everything turns chaotic. So I think this is where the one officer is giving the other officer a boost up to look up onto the roof where the gunman is located. They're aware that he's up there, and this is the officer trying to peer up there. Okay. He was running back. There's some interruption or maybe something edited there. But... Okay, so they're all aware now.
You got me up once, give me up again. Ready? Yep. All right, ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
And that's it. So that's a big deal. That's a very, very big deal. Okay, now I think, yes, we do. We have finally the video the Dragon sent. You're gonna love this. This is fantastic stuff. Okay, I've got it queued up. So let's take a break, and then we're going to bring Dragon in with what's probably the biggest story of the night. It's nutty. It's really nutty. Trust me. Stick around. I'll be right back.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media,
but the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Okay, let's bring Dragon in because he has a special story for us tonight. Hello, sir. How are you tonight?
Doing good. How are you tonight?
Well, I'm okay. I'm okay. I see you have your Maverick hoodie on.
That's for sure, man.
Looking
I mean,
good, man.
It's, hey, you know what? It's pretty comfy, you know, guys. If you want to buy some, tell you what, they are comfortable, so no scratchy, no nothing. I love it.
Well, since if you're gonna plug them, I might as well take advantage of that because we can sure use the help, man. We got to pay some bills around here. Yeah, so if you want to support what we do, you can do that by donating at. Let me get the right banner up here. I should reorganize these things so that they're easier to find. But you can donate at maverickdonations.com.
And you got also Freedom Reporter.
That's right. Maverick Donations. That's the well, you go there. Take what do they call that one? I'm getting old, man. It's not Give Send Go. Is it Give Send Go?
Is it? I think it is.
Yeah, it's Give Send Go, right? Yeah, it's Give Send Go. Because I always get the other one, GoFundMe. We're not on GoFundMe because what they did with the Freedom Convoy, so I don't do anything with them. But Give Send Go, they're a Christian-based thing, and they're super nice people. So Give Send Go, you can donate there. If you do $60 or more, I can send you a hoodie. There's one size that we're missing though, and that's like an extra large. So I have to get more of those made, and I know that there is one person waiting for an XL. So I'm sorry for the delay. I'm waiting for the guy that we use to make these things to produce it. But a whole bunch of other stuff happening here. So anyway, Give Send Go is maverickdonations.com or freedomreporters.com. PayPal takes you straight to the donation page, and it's quite easy to do that. Just make a notation. Tell me what size you need. And even though I think yours is gray, isn't it, Dragon?
Yep. Mine is great.
You got a very limited edition, collector's edition, because all we have in stock, I think I've got one gray one. But everything else is black. Everything else is black. So freedomreporters.com. And we have t-shirts too. $30 donation or more. I'll send you a t-shirt. And without further ado, let's dig into, please like, share, subscribe. Give us the thumbs up too. Thumbs up on the YouTube channels, especially because we're not able to broadcast on the main YouTube channel. So if you're on YouTube tonight, make sure, please, that you subscribe there. We need those other YouTube channels built up as backup for what just happened. this past week because we can't broadcast on that main channel for a while. I don't know for how long. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell on YouTube. We got to fight back against this censorship. So that's how you can do it. And subscribe.
Which is nuts, you
know?
know?
It is nuts, yeah. It is nuts, you know. Now, I don't agree with threatening anybody, so I totally understand why the cops would show up on your front door if you're threatening to kill someone, right? A politician or anybody. I get that. But the other censorship, you know, beyond that, canceling people outright, you know, there's a line, but I think we are well on this side of it. They're using algorithms and AI. That being said, did you want to say something to that?
Yeah, well, about the situation about the censorship, you know. Look, I've been hearing that some people in UK have been arrested because of some posts made on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look it up, guys. If you got Bill C-11, if I'm not mistaken, and Bill C-63, that is, I mean, if you look at both of them, and if you say something along bad, you know, the bad things, right? Well, I mean, the open door is there in Canada to have the same approach. If I say something out of context that is like pro-violence to our, you know, to anyone in the politics or anyone else, I'm going to be caught on that, and I might be arrested. So, yeah. Be careful what you say, guys.
Yeah. So, oh, I have to cue this up. So, you have a special video for us tonight.
Yeah, well, I thought that we need a little bit of positive moment in life. So, you know what? I thought that some naughty thing could probably, well, you know, change your views.
So, of course, your videos are available. Tell people where they can find your videos when you're not here, first of all.
My videos on YouTube, I need to upload this one actually, but yeah, I got the One Rising Dragon on YouTube, so you can vision that on this one. And there's also Facebook at DRAGON on the second line. So basically, it's Dragon. So yeah, the Facebook.
And I see that you have made yourself a friend.
Mm-hmm.
This is nutty. This was shot today, I guess.
Yesterday.
Presenting to you my my good friend.
Wow.
Charlie. She's a nice squirrel.
So Charlie.
She lives next to my house in that
amazing.
Park, and well.
The funny thing is that every day I open my door, right?
Yeah.
And she comes around in the front of my porch.
Like a good little fella.
And she come and say hi, you know? So, and I love peanuts, so.
I'm not super stable.
I wanted to share, and she's
I do that.
She's friendly.
More stable, so there you go.
That's amazing. I have I have squirrels around here. They don't come anywhere near me.
No, but it's not.
My dog chases them though, so maybe that's why.
Tastes good.
Well, that's a thing. I used to say that my dad was a kind of a Dr. Dolittle kind of guy.
As you are.
Nature's come to him kind of thing. We have that little vibes, if you will.
So you're telling me that this squirrel is wild and it just comes right up to you like that to get the nuts?
Yep.
Amazing.
It's wild.
Look at that. That is so cool, man.
Well, if you want me to give you a tour real quick, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're in the dragon lair, so.
I'm just stabilizing my hen.
So here, that's my door to get out of the place. So, as you can probably see here, You can probably
So
see
this
that that's
is
the little
Charlotte,
carpet and the front porch where she was. So there's probably a
aka
peanut or two
Charlie.
you can see here. But okay, my door is here, and
She's kind of my pet.
this
My
is
dog is
like
basically my pet. You know,
the exit.
she's the neighbor. 'Cause
You
she
got an
live in
exit
that
here,
park right
Yeah.
behind me.
and there's the park right
And
next to my door. So basically, my door is here, and the park is right there, and
she's
they
pretty
got a
fickle,
nest
man.
around here. So
Can I ask
So-
you a question? Why did you
Sure.
name this? First of all, how do you know it's a female squirrel? And
she has
secondly,
tits.
oh, okay, that's a good indication. Okay, and secondly,
As you can see, there's positive
why did you
stuff in
name
life.
your
Always keep positive,
female
guys.
squirrel friend Charlie?
Right?
I don't know. It came on the moment, so.
Wouldn't you? Isn't that more of a male name?
Well,
Like a boy
actually, you know,
squirrel?
it's actually no, it's the well, you know, I thought of Charlotte, you know, so, but Charlie is more of an English way to put it. So yeah, Charlie or Charlotte. So yeah, she's a friendly little guy. She comes right into my hand, and I mean, I've been here for a while, okay, but it took a moment to tame them. But yeah, most of them don't come at my hand. She's the only one who comes right into my hand,
Yeah.
and she likes me a lot, right? So
And Charlie just did he come does and then she just sat there like maybe 1 foot away from you, not afraid of you at all. She likes you. Yeah.
Yep.
That's, you know what? That's a good indication of a person's character. If animals trust someone, it's usually a good indicator that they are a gentle and kind person. And
Mhm.
so I would say that that's a big compliment, and it reflects well on you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, and I appreciate you sharing that video with us tonight. I think that's a great thing, something
Well,
that spreading a
we
little joy tonight.
yeah, we need some joy in those dark moments. I mean, people are scared about the downfall of the money or the economic, which is rebounding a little bit, guys. So brace yourself. It's not the end yet, right? We're still alive. So where there's some life, there's some hope. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's one thing.
there is still hope.
There's always
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, I said the other night, I didn't think this was the big crash. This isn't the big one, not yet. It may still come. I hope it never does, but you know, I think that maybe it's still around the corner somewhere. But not today, financial Satan, not today. We're still alive and well, and Charlie is still alive and kicking, and that was a great video. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
All right, and you've got a big story that we will. I'll only. We don't want to say too much about it tonight because we don't want to spoil the story. But you've got a big story that you're gonna share with us tomorrow night, right?
Right? We got something coming, so brace yourself, guys, because well, it's not always happy, it's not always fun, but we got to dig in sometimes to get the answers where we need it. So
All right, and Dragon has been working on an important story up there in Montreal that will begin tomorrow with sort of a preview of some events that are going to happen on Saturday. And then I think we're going to have a follow-up story on Saturday. Plus, tomorrow night, we have Maverick Midnight Matinee.
right?
So I haven't decided on which movie we're going to run tomorrow night, but we'll have something interesting. I've got a couple of things in mind. If anybody has any suggestions, send them my way. In fact, if you want to talk about it just for a moment in the chat, very quickly,
Well-
I'm looking in the chat. Do you have anything you want to suggest, Dragon?
Well, I do actually, and I mean, if we can't have a movie because it's not a public space or domain, yeah, probably I can read something to you at some point, which is short, but can enlighten you on something that is, well, kind of far-fetched, but at the same time, could it be true?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see where things go tomorrow. I do have sort of a Twilight Zone sort of thing in mind that I've been holding on to run, which is actually pretty high quality stuff. Very good drama and mysterious conspiracy theory kind of science fiction-y stuff. Very Twilight Zone-like, but not Twilight Zone. It's in that vein, though. And Robert says, play Wolyn? I don't know what that is. What is that? Wolyn?
Let me
Wolyn?
check
What
it
is
out.
that?
Wolyn. What is Wolyn?
Yeah, the movie Maverick Midnight Matinee, 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And we will have our regular Maverick News broadcast at 7 p.m. So 7 p.m., then we'll likely take a break. We might flow right into the movie, but more likely it'll be a separate broadcast. We'll go from about 7 to 9 with the Maverick News program. Then we'll hit with the other broadcasts.
If I'm not mistaken, and Robert, please tell me on the chat if I'm not mistaken, he's referring to the movie Wolnia, which is hatred in Polish. And it's a 2016 Polish war drama directed by Wojciech Zalewski. Sorry for butchering the name, but it's about what happened in 1939 and 43.
But it's a 2016, so we can't do that because we have to do public domain stuff that doesn't have a copyright in order for us to run it. So it's a challenge for me to find quality that is public domain, but there is stuff out there. And so I'm doing my best to curate quality content for all of you. And I guarantee you, whatever it is tomorrow night, it will be high quality. It will have high entertainment value. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Maverick Midnight Matinee and 7 p.m. for our regular Maverick News broadcast tomorrow night. And Dragon,
real quick,
yeah,
I will do some research on what it is on the public domain that we can probably use on my part. And I don't know, I mean, probably we can add another subject on the matter. And real quick, when I was a pup in high school, I remember one time I did a beautiful meeting with a war veteran of World War II. And his part in World War II was at Dieppe, about a month after D-Days, all right? There were an operation called Operation Dragoon. And this operation was actually to cut off the German from extorting or cutting off the supply to the Allies that took off at that point, Normandy. So what happened is that they had to took one way and cut off all the German just to be able to bring those supply. So do your research on that one. It's one operation that was untold much, and it's, I think, one of the most important part of the Canadian history in World War II.
Okay. Well, we'll be back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. for Maverick Midnight Matinee, 7 p.m. with our regular Maverick News broadcast. See you guys tomorrow on the flip side.
On the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.